Hi, my name is Michaela Allison, and today I decided to choose to talk about emotional disturbance because I think that this is an issue that's really prevalent in schools and in a lot of kids. It may not be quite as visible as some other disorders, but so many of our students will be dealing with this, and so I think it's important to know a little bit about it and what we can do to help. So, the first thing that I wanted to kind of talk about and make you realize is that emotional disturbance is considered like an umbrella term. So under that umbrella, there are more specific disorders. So things like anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, conduct disorder, eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and psychotic disorder. So those are a few of the things that you may be dealing with. There's others as well, but those are a few things. I found this video here that I want to play. I think that it really gives a good overview of some characteristics and things that affect their performances. Hold on one second. Let me get that up. Okay. So yeah, this just kind of gives a little brief overview and gives a good example. Gives good examples.
Emotional behavioral disability. This disability is defined by IDEA under emotional disturbances. One or more of the following 5 characteristics must be present in order for the student to be diagnosed. An inability to learn which cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. An inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationships with peers and teachers. Inappropriate behaviors or feelings under normal circumstances. A general mood of unhappiness or depression. And a tendency to develop physical symptoms or fears associated with personal or school problems. These characteristics must be present over a long period of time and to a degree that negatively affects the student's education performance. Students with emotional behavioral disability have IQ scores in the low average range. They also present moderate to severe academic difficulties in multiple areas and limited academic improvement over time. These students will oftentimes disrupt class and respond impulsively. They will lack knowledge or skills required to perform essential social behaviors or just not choose to perform the behaviors. Don't worry. Strategies have been developed to help teachers help their students with EBD. Expect and create. First, you must expect appropriate behavior. The students need guidance, model behavior, and feedback. Reinforcements and punishments should be used just as they would be with other students. There should be clear behavior expectations, and responses to rule violations should be consistent and sound. Second, teachers should be proactive in creating a community of people who will support the student. It can include parents, siblings, other teachers, extracurricular leaders, friends, and others. Communication and collaboration are vital among the members of this group. The needs of the child, behavior triggers, and expectations should all be well known. Students with EBD are absolutely capable of being included in a general education classroom. Teachers should recognize and respond to progress because it will encourage the students to continue their good behaviors and build self-esteem. The students should have an individualized behavior intervention plan. The BIP describes the problem behavior, the reasons the behavior occurs, and the intervention strategies that will address the behavior. Einstein said it best, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." All students have an opportunity to be successful. Believe it.
So I think that is a good video, and it really goes over a few of the characteristics that you can look for in kids and how those things can affect their educational performance. It also gave some good ideas of what we can do. But now I just wanted to kind of go over a few more characteristics that I found in looking over things, and so it kind of goes over a few things that the video talks about, but also a few others. So those characteristics are things like hyperactivity. So this can be short attention spans, or very impulsive, things like that. They can also become very aggressive, or maybe injure themselves, and acting out and fighting, things like that. They may also choose to withdraw and not interact very socially with others. They might have excessive fear or anxiety. Another characteristic to look for could be immaturity and inappropriate crying, different times, temper tantrums maybe, and poor coping skills with different situations that they become a part of. Something else is learning difficulties, academically performing below grade level and stuff like that. They may also show abnormal mood swings. So those are all things to look for. But I wanted to note that as we go through those things, maybe you might be thinking of yourself or someone that you knew or know that may have displayed a few of these characteristics growing up or even now. But just because you may have shown these characteristics or behaviors, that does not mean that you have an emotional disturbance. Many kids show these different things at times, but for the kids that actually do have an emotional disturbance, they will display these behaviors over long periods of time and pretty consistently. So that's important to remember. So some causes, it's interesting, they don't have any like solid causes for these types of disorders. It's not totally known, but there are different factors that have been researched and may suggest some sort of cause. So those things are things like heredity, and your genetics, stuff like that. Brain disorders could affect it. Your diet may also affect these emotions and different things. Also stress and family functioning, so within your own families and different situations with that could cause emotional disturbances. This quote I found I really liked, and I think that it's important for us to remember that mental illnesses are not the result of personal weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringing. Mental illnesses are treatable. Most people diagnosed with a serious mental illness can experience relief from their symptoms by actively participating in an individual treatment plan. So while we don't know the cause for this, there are a lot of things that you can do to help the kids be able to deal with it and identify it and kind of be successful within their own illness. So it really is important to help them get their own treatment plans and help them to discover those things and to work together in that. As teachers, we do have an important role, and we have ways that we can help our students. So educational programs for children with an emotional disturbance need to include attention to providing emotional and behavioral support, as well as helping them to master academic development, develop social skills, and increase self-awareness, self-control, and self-esteem. So there are a few different little tips that I found that we as teachers can use to help our students that may be suffering from this disorder. One of the big things is to track incidents. So you want to be as specific as possible. You want to be able to write down what time of day it was, what type of activity they were doing, who they were around, different things like that. So just being as specific as possible can really help with that, as well as looking for prior instances of this behavior. Those kind of go hand in hand. Another thing that teachers could do is potentially put fewer problems on a page. Just depending on the disorder that the child has, that may help them feel more comfortable. If there are fewer problems on the page, it may not be as overwhelming or stressful for them. You might also give both verbal and written instructions and have students work together. You could allow oral responses in place of written ones and allow students additional time to complete the assignments. And something that I just think is really important to remember is that these students are not always trying to be difficult. They just don't know how to express themselves and what they're struggling with. So be patient with that and do your best to help them by working with them and with their parents and with the school and community around them to try and help them be as successful as possible. And that's it. Thanks.